My name is Lorraine Simpson and I am passionate about travel. My obsession has taken me to 92 countries over the last 53 years, and I am now devoted to helping the travel industry recover in a post-pandemic world. I had to include my country of Britain, so let's meet Paul from VisitBritain. Let's go to England, or should I say Britain? Well, of course, you know I'm from Britain. You can't really tell from my accent, I'm sure, but I'm from Britain, and of course I love it. My boyfriend is constantly teasing me about how he could walk around Britain in about an hour and a half, and that's not true, but I have an expert right here with me today, Paul Gauger. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you're not in Britain at the moment, but welcome and thanks so much.
Thanks, Lorraine. And you can probably tell from my accent, it's a bit all over the place as well, because I was born in England, but then I grew up in Australia, and now I'm living in New York. So it's quite it's got all sorts of it's a gypsy accent.
Yes, and a little bit like that. We do tend to travel quite a lot as British people, don't we? We do tend to go around the world quite a bit more. So we do tend to find that we are well-traveled type of people, I suppose, really. So
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit more about what you do. And, this show is all about what's on your post-pandemic bucket list. And there are a lot of people out there who would say that Britain or Great Britain is definitely on their post-pandemic bucket list.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I think a lot of people are looking for different experiences. So at the moment, a lot of people are doing what we call armchair inspiration, because they can't really leave at the moment because of COVID. So it's really like thinking about where you want to go, where you want to be. And I really think that people are going to be wanting to be getting outside and getting really out and about. And we've got so much history and culture, wonderful countryside, the coasts, the castles. So I really think Britain will be something for the people who really want to go and see.
There's quite a lot of castles in England, right? And Wales and Scotland, of course.
Yeah. No, there's no shortage of castles. In fact, I was lucky enough to stay in a castle. I was at Swinton Park in Yorkshire, up in northern Yorkshire, and it's just before the Yorkshire Moors National Park. And again, you really do feel that whole king of the castle, the queen of the manor, and a lot of people want that sort of like that luxury experience, that sort of very quintessentially British experience.
So what about if you don't want to go into the castles, but you would like to go and look at the real countryside or the coast or something like that? What can we do?
Well, I think that the big thing that's coming up soon is it's called the English Coastal Path, and it's going to be the longest coastal path in the world, and you can walk all around England. Not that I would be doing that in a day or something like that. I think it's going to take quite some time, because it's over 2,800 miles. They're spectacular coastal. Like one of my favourite areas is Dorset, which is and they call that the Jurassic Coast, because you can then see like spectacular cliff faces. You can also go fossil hunting and looking. Yeah. There's lots of it's good for the family, but gorgeous places to stay, like Summer Lodge as well. And Summer Lodge is another lovely sort of little country house, but also country house hotel. But you can also stay in little cabins and cottages again there as well. So that's a lovely spot on the coast. Wales also have a coastal path as well. So I think that's the big thing. Everyone's like, as we're all trying to get healthy, and walking's an easy way of doing that. It's like, why not go walking around Britain?
Yes, of course, absolutely. So can we go to Britain at the moment?
Well, you can go to Britain at the moment, but there is a quarantine. So so it's a 14-day quarantine for at the moment for people from Canada, from the US. So that's the challenge for some people. But we're watching this all the time to see what, obviously once things change, we'll be the first out there to let you know that, welcome back, everyone come back to Britain. We're all
Yeah.
We're all missing you.
What would be on your Great Britain bucket list? If you were to go there now, what would you be most looking forward to see in England, Ireland, Scotland or Wales?
Obviously London is the jewel of the crown for a lot of people. They want to go to London, but that's where I was saying there's so much more outside of London as well. So that's where, it depends whether it's up in Scotland. I love the Highlands, and I also love, there's a place called Loch Lomond, which is just outside of Glasgow. And that's, you've got all the lovely lochs in Scotland. You've got, and actually the one that, obviously the most famous for a lot of people is Loch Ness. So,
yes.
I would definitely, Nessie, yes.
Does he exist?
Well, I think so, but
I think so.
I think so. But yet to be, I've yet to see. Is it him or a her? I've yet to see. I would like to think she's a her, isn't he? But who knows?
Yeah.
And so I think the Highlands are beautiful. So in Scotland, and I love Edinburgh as well, and Glasgow. And Edinburgh and Glasgow are so easy to get because only a 1 hour train, even a little bit less than that between the two. So you can do a tale of two cities.
In Scotland, I've always wanted to go and do one of those tours of the whiskey distilleries. Not that I really drink it, but just because I think it's really fascinating. And apparently you can make your own whiskey. Is that right?
Yes.
You can make your own and they'll bottle it for you and then send it. That's really cool. That would be a great souvenir, right?
That's really cool. And now they're actually even, a lot of people think about gin as being English, but now the Scottish are now producing, I think they're even producing more gin than the English.
So I always ask all of my guests the same question. What is on your post-pandemic bucket list? And I'm not talking about visiting Britain at the moment. Where would be on your post-pandemic bucket list?
Oh, it's tricky. I think unfortunately, because my parents are still in Australia, they're really in lockdown. So at the moment, like Australia, you can't get into Australia at all. So I probably should and will go to visit Australia and see my family back there. But I'm hanging out to go back to Britain, and I've got family there as well and friends. So I'm probably going to do both. I'm going to do Britain and Australia.
Yes, I spoke to Air Canada yesterday because I'm doing a lot more of these broadcasts. But also, once lockdown is released, restrictions are lifted, should we say, I will be visiting in person again and filming it while we're there. And so I asked the Air Canada guy, where does he think the first place I should go to? And he said England. He said, go to London, because I'm, British and so it has a bit of a correlation and everything. So he was like, yes, show us your country. And I said, well, my grandparents were Blairs from Scotland. So I would have to do England and Scotland. And yes, I would actually, I don't think I've been to Scotland since I was a child. And I met somebody from Scotland at IMAX. And he said to me, when you come to Scotland, we're going to have you a kilt made, but we're going to find out what's your proper clan and all of that. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm a big Outlander fan, huge Outlander fan. So I'll have to go and find some of that locations as well.